Okay, we're ready to go.
Call this meeting of the COVID-19 Special Committee to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro,
I'm here, but I think
Alderwoman Hubbard,
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia,
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Present.
Alderman Coder,
Here.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Here.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
President Reed.
Here.
11 present, you have quorum.
All right. We will hold on excused aldermen until the end of the agenda because Alderman Muhammad may just be running a little bit behind. Approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
I will make a motion. We approve the minutes of, I don't know the date. I'm sorry.
Approval of the minutes for June 16th, 2020.
So I move that we approve the minutes of the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 23rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 13th. Any discussion? Any discussion? Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Board bills for review. Alderman from the 22nd, recognized on board bill number 90.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of board. Board Bill 90 is an appropriation bill for COVID-19 relief efforts for the city of St. Louis. And I have Mr. Steve Conway, the Chief of Staff at the Mayor's Office, to kind of walk us through the board bill. So if it's okay, I would like to have him introduce himself and talk about the bill.
Mr. Conway, you're recognized for the discussion on board bill number 90. Steve Conway.
Good morning, Mr. President and committee members. Board Bill 90 is a supplemental, basically COVID-19 bill. These were some additional grants that came through to us. I have Charlene Deacon to talk about the two emergency services grant. But I will talk about, we had received from the Secretary of State a grant for $150,000, which the election board has already spent the funds with respect to the August primary. We've given them additional funding for the November primary or November general election. But that would be the $150,000 for the local authorities grant program. That was $150,000, allowed them to expand their efforts in August, which I think they did a very, very fine job. They need the funds to restore their budget because they advanced the monies that they spent that they would have otherwise spent under that grant. I have Charlene Deacon. Come on down here, Charlene. If you would tell me about the two grants that you have.
The two grants, can you hear me?
You got to talk into the machine.
Yes, we can hear you.
The two pots of money that are indicated down the bottom of the first page, starting at the bottom, $180,320, and then the $122,519 is money that was directed to the Fire Department Emergency Medical Service. It was unsolicited, but it's based on a formula, and the rather large number of clients that use the EMS service that are Medicare or Medicaid eligible. So the money as I understand it, is still set aside. The intent of the fire chief with the endorsement of the Director of Public Safety and unofficial permission of the Director of Personnel is to offset, is to actually pay for large amounts of canceled vacation we had. Since all of them were, all forms of leave were canceled in fire and EMS, so that we had the ability to respond to the large number of calls. And to the extent that the overtime expenses are reimbursable under the FEMA Emergency Declarations Grant, I think, the director thinks, the fire chief thinks, that the smartest thing for us to do is to try to bring down some of the accrued leave that we have for emergency responders on the fire side, so that next year, when we start scheduling vacations, we're not driving overtime because everybody needs to be off to use up their time. So that's what that's about, if there are any questions. We haven't proceeded with this because, of course, we can't spend it unless it's appropriated. So there's been no formal request made for this, but we have a large number of fire department uniformed personnel, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, who had their vacation canceled. And it's on our books. It's on our books. It's a liability.
Okay. Anything further, Alderman, from the 22nd? Anything further before we open it up for questions?
I don't have anything further to add.
Okay. Alderwoman Davis, any questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
Alderman Vaccaro, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Tamika Hubbard.
I'm sorry, my mic,
That's all right.
my
Any
mouse
questions?
was acting funny. So do they have the specific number of, I guess, vacations that were canceled or number of hours that like we're reimbursing? Did she say that? I'm sorry if I didn't catch it. I was just curious to how they matched the money with what was actually used. Did she mention that specifically?
Sure, I don't know the gross number of hours, but the fire department, kind of like corrections does, and EMS, plan their vacation in advance. So right now, the fire department is scheduling leave, which is a combination of vacation, O days, and comp time accrued, into calendar year 21. So I don't know what the hours are, but the fire chief estimated that this first round, of course, we don't know what's going to happen. There's over $300,000 set aside in this reimbursement. This first round, we think, will cost $160,000 to reduce the amount. There's a limit, and I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what it is. It's 2 or 3 weeks. There's a limit in the compensation ordinance as to how much you can reimburse, and it's subject to approval by the personnel department. But the fire chief's most recent figures would be, it would cost $160,000, roughly half of what's there.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
All right. Alderwoman Ingracia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Charlene, I apologize. I missed which pool of money you're referencing right now on the exhibit.
Okay, it's starting on line 18.
She's saying on the exhibit.
Oh, here. Okay, it's the EMS CARES Act. There's 2 pots, 122,000 and 181,000. It's really the same reimbursement. It just came to us in 2 different pots. So this is money that the fire department received for emergency medical response, because it's a formula based, and it is based on our rather large number of Medicare and Medicaid clients in EMS.
Okay. And does this money have to be spent by the end of the year?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And what is the remainder going to be used for, the 143,000 that's left over?
Well, I would recommend that we save it in case we need to do this very same thing again.